Good evening and welcome to another edition of Flames Unfiltered, hosted by Brad Burud and Kyle Lewis. The season is going. We have real hockey to watch. And how are we feeling? Are we upset, happy? Where are we on the whole spectrum that I see Flames?
No, we're Flames fans. We're never happy. Let's be real. But it's funny when you said the season is going. I was thinking, like, is that like a ... poorly? ... average? You know what I mean? Like, I thought you were going to throw something else in there, but yeah, it's super average with some concerning tendencies. What do you think?
Fragile.
Oh, God. That's a heavy word for this early in the podcast. We're a minute 8 in and you dropped that word.
Like, and I don't know if the fan base is more fragile right now, which I think is the case. But I'm seeing a few things with the team that scares me a little bit. But I am so far away from hitting the panic button that.
Well, it's super early, and I mean, it's the same roster mostly as last year, and it takes a while to work out the kinks. Just a few players that I'm probably going to single out tonight that I don't think are performing very well. But
did you see the Vancouver Edmonton games last weekend?
I saw the highlights.
Oh, I watched them. Well, the Flames game was on at the same time, but I had the iPad going with the Vancouver Edmonton game on Wednesday night, and then I watched Saturday nights. Unbelievably fun to watch. It really was, and it sucks cheering for the Canucks because I freaking hate the Canucks.
Yeah,
but it was just crazy to watch Edmonton like self-destruct.
Yeah. That's you want to talk about a team that should be concerned right now. Like, holy. Now I had been told. It's kind of like a friend of a friend thing, and I don't want to spread any gossip on our podcast, obviously, but I understand that Jack Campbell had some pretty serious struggles last year, not unlike those that Spencer Knight had in Florida, in terms of some kind of an issue anyway, whether it was substance related or whatever it was. Anyway, apparently he came back like ready to play the season, in good shape, like good to go, and that certainly hasn't seemed to be the case yet. Now, I mean, he's been hung out to dry a lot.
They hung him out to dry,
but yeah, but I guess the point is, like, a guy comes into a season feeling refreshed, feeling good, dealing with whatever he had to deal with, and you think, all right, now we're going to get like rock and rolling. And in Calgary's case, Jonathan Huberdeau, right? I said all the right things in training camp, ready to go, blah, blah, blah. And the early returns haven't been, the first game was all right, but since then it's like, holy.
Do you think so?
I don't, yeah. Well, he was really disjointed the other night.
Should we start there right away?
Well, why not? I mean, and he's going to turn around. He's still a fantastic hockey player, but I mean, because he hasn't, busted a game open like a Gaudreau often did, or an Iginla, like he's because of how he's paid and all that, and the size of that trade, like he's really being compared to some pretty lofty company, right? Like,
I've heard a lot of, whether it be from X or from Flames talk or where, I mean, anywhere. I mean, it's all over. People are
right.
There is a core group in Calgary that is very upset with Jonathan Huberdeau.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe there's honestly, I don't think I'm lying when I say this. I think there's a core group in Calgary that never wants him to succeed. I feel like they do not want him to succeed because they need something to bitch about.
I like to think that's not the case, but you could be right. And he'll pick it up. He's too good not to. He's not going to have a season like last year. 3 points in 3 games.
Yep. He's on pace to what me and you said would be successful.
Yep.
And I don't just judge on points, because there is a whole hell of a lot more to points.
Yeah,
but
of course.
If you want to talk about areas of delusional escapades in Calgary, we have Nazem Kadri, our second highest paid player, who is -4, 0 points, 3 games, and again, looks like he doesn't give a shit.
He looked like he didn't care in that shootout. That's for damn sure. That was pathetic.
He looked like that during the game. He took a too many men on the ice, penalty in overtime, where he just jumped out onto the ice. Now, I couldn't watch that from above to watch the gestures or anything coming from the player coming off.
Right.
Or what happened there. 3-on-3, and we're getting 2 men on the ice, and he sat in the bench like, well, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't get it. There's certain guys on this team that get a free pass by the fan base.
Yeah.
And that's Dylan Dubé. He can stink it up, and he has been good this year. So I'm just using him as an example.
Mm-hmm.
because he was on Team Canada World Junior Champion, he's got a freaking free pass.
Yeah.
And nobody crucifies him.
Well, I attempted to the other day. When he was on X about him not shouldn't be on the power play, and then he scored on the next shift. I'm like, oh, maybe he should.
Honestly, me and you do that. We do have a tendency.
I eat my words routinely. Ask anybody who's dated me.
So do I. I don't know. I don't. I think. Okay. I think no matter what team you are and no matter what's going on at different segments of the year, I think you can throw stones at individuals, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's part of being a fan, right?
But I mean, are we really going to throw stones at Jonathan Huberdeau forever?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, are we going to do this? I mean, are we going to just drive this guy out of this town?
Contractually,
I don't know how the hell we would, because
no, I think it's super like this. Even just the conversation so far between us, like it's gotten kind of like obviously there's some frustration. So Huberdeau is going to be fine. We're not, he's going to have a really solid year. He's already having a pretty decent start compared to what he,
I'm not worried about him right now.
No, I'm not either. And I'm going to take this as an opportunity to talk about something positive just to balance this a little bit.
And I was critical of him last year. I was very critical of him. How do you not be? Right?
Oh, 100%. A lot of that was the coaching staff's fault, but I mean, still, this guy goes from South Florida to Calgary after how many years in Florida? Like that's a big adjustment personally, never mind on the ice. But what I was going to point to in terms of positives, which we're all about here on Flames Unfiltered, as all of our listeners know. I couldn't even say without laughing. The power play, I actually, despite the actual results of it thus far, which haven't been horrendous by any stretch, I don't believe anyway, the puck movement looks way better, way faster, quicker, shorter passes. Like you're making the defense move around, like really stretching out the penalty killers. And Mark Savard's already having an impact in that regard because last year it was agonizing to watch.
It was.
You got the stats there? I can see you looking like you're looking at stats.
I was looking. I don't hate the power play.
What are we ranked right now? You got that handy?
I will, as we talk here, I'll find it.
Yeah, so you don't hate it, right?
I don't hate it. I'm not like over the top with it though. Like I don't think it's
tweaking. No, the methodology is correct.
We're currently, we're not bad. I mean, it's early, but we're 8th, 27.3. I will take that.
Oh, 100%.
I will take that all year. I mean, oh my goodness, I'd be ecstatic about that all year. It's been better. It's been better. Yep.
I think one of the things they need to do, and I'm echoing some people on X. I hate saying X. I just want to call it fucking Twitter. Anyway.
How about our penalty kill? We haven't a lot of goal on our penalty kill.
Yeah, no, it's great. Actually, that's surprising for a team that's been a little porous defensively, especially in that Washington game when Matty Phillips let us up poetically.
Okay, can we get this conversation? You want to get let's get all the negativity out of this.
Hang on. First of all, it's generally positive in that the guy made it to the NHL. He's having some success. So we're not, we can agree that's a positive thing for him, obviously.
Me and you fight about this. And I do cheer for this guy. I really, really honestly do.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't cheering for him the other night against the Flames like some Flames fans were, which blows my mind. But
yeah, it's a little awkward, a little weird, I find. Yeah, for sure.
Here's the deal though. Did Matthew Phillips get a fair shot from Daryl Sutter? No. Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. Do I think he's an everyday NHL player? No. And I think it'll be proven out over time.
Wow, interesting. Well, he has a very specific role, right? So he's going to have to be a scorer if he's going to stick around, and he has that touch. He has everyone's play.
What a goal he did score!
Oh yeah, he had a nice assist in that game too. I think he's going to settle in as a 40, 50 point winger, maybe. I think he has that type of potential. Huh? Yeah, I do. Yeah, and we saw why the other night, but it was very poetic what happened, and I think
that happens to us all the time.
Yeah, but see, there's a lesson there. Like it's how do I say this? It's really hard to know when your team actually made a mistake versus when they didn't. So Matthew Phillips, the handling of it was a mistake because you lost an asset for nothing that has proven thus far he can hang in the NHL, right? So that's one thing. But people will often go back historically to examples such as Martin St. Louis. And Martin St. Louis got all kinds of ice time in Calgary, did nothing with it.
Did absolutely nothing with it.
Yeah.
Did nothing with it. And why do we always look back on stuff? And I don't think it's just the Calgary fan market, but why do we do this to ourselves? Like
because we're human beings, we love misery.
Every single team can look at their roster and look at guys they gave up on or traded or did something that had success somewhere else, and they don't put a gun to their head.
Yep.
But why do we in Calgary look at guys and be like, oh, what were we doing? We were so stupid.
Well, I think because, to be candid, I mean, the Flames have a lengthy history of botching drafts and not developing players properly. And if they do, not giving them ample opportunity. Now that is changing. We've talked about that, but that frustration is so permeated, you know, it's been there for so long. Like we all kind of feel it. We can all think of examples of it, right?
I can. Our draft
it's
hideous for 2 decades.
It was arguably the worst in the league.
But that's all. I mean, you can't keep everybody.
No.
And I'm saying this, and this is not a knock on Phillips. Are we a stronger Calgary Flames team with him on our roster?
I would say so, honestly.
Where would he be? Is he taking Phillips' spot? Is he taking Coronato's spot?
I would have loved to have had both, just because that right side is so thin. Which I gotta kind of use that as a segue. I mean, well, first of all, let me get your take, because you don't think there was room for Phillips on this team? Is that what you're saying?
Not a prayer.
Wow.
Look at our right side. Is he taking Mangiapane out? No. Is he taking Dubé out? No. Is he taking Coronato out? No. Is he taking Dewar out? No.
Yeah, but those can all be moved around too. That's kind of the case with Sharon Govich right now. I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree entirely. I feel when you have assets like that, it could have made for a more interesting camp, and the right wing could have had a little more scoring depth there potentially. But I mean, it's kind of a moot point because things change. Guys can move around, like Yurka Sharon Govich right now being as low down the lineup as he is. Yet, that's what I was going to tie this back to, was the power play conversation. Like, have you seen that fucking guy shoot a puck?
I have real mixed feelings on him right now.
Did you see the bar he hit in the shootout?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could barely see it. It was so freaking fast.
Yeah, how do you not put that guy on one of your power play units?
Well, they did, but he couldn't hit the net.
They did barely, right? I think they had to be more patient with that. I just think like that's the one thing. The one thing he really brings is a lethal wrister. I
think he gets revisited, and I think now, I think he's playing on the fourth line, centering the fourth line, which shocked me. But then I don't know why. Like, this is such an unfair thing. First of all, I'm like, how can they put him on center with his new defensive system? He's not going to be reliable. Wait a minute, he is reliable defensively. That's one of his knocks, is that he doesn't use his offensive talents as readily as he probably should. And I like him centering the fourth line on this team? No, I don't think it's ideal at all. But right now, right now, do I want him with Lindholm and Huberdeau? Probably not.
Nope.
But will that probably work in time? I think so. I think right now, I look at our line combinations, and they're a freaking jumbled mess. I really wish they would use they kind of have tweaked a little bit of what I said last week, but I don't know. I think right now we need to, and it's just so unfair too, because I bitched about this last year exactly on the podcast at the same time of year, when about 4 or 5 games in, he yanked Lindholm and Huberdeau and separated them. And I said, what are you doing? You didn't even give him a fair shot. Yeah. And then I'm going to sit on the show today and go, I don't know if that works, because I really we've never seen it work, have we?
No, but to your prior point, we never really sat with it long enough, right?
I agree. So I argue with myself, right?
But back to the thing about Sharon Govich too. Like, he kind of got lost in Jersey because, man, they got a lot of firepower, right? Like with Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, and Jesper Bratt. Like he wasn't going to get an offensive opportunity there. So even if it's toiling on the fourth line in Calgary right now, like, so be it for the time being. But he's kind of a Swiss Army knife, right? Like with that shot and the fact he can play defensively, like he's going to move around the lineup a lot, but I think before he finds his place.
Is he not a smart hockey player though? Is his hockey instinct low?
That's a tough one to answer. It's certainly not elite. It's not elite because
I've heard that knock on him. And now
that would explain the lack of production for a guy that can shoot like that, right?
But I've only seen. I can't really say that yet because I haven't seen enough games. That'd be pretty unfair.
Well, that's the thing. That's why we're not overreacting here because we've only seen 3 games, right?
What's your thought of his line partner, Greer?
I'm thinking of was that college football coach years ago freaking out? They are who we thought they were. He's what I thought he was. He's a good checker. He's a decent skater. He's prototypical NHL fourth liner 101. Doesn't cost you games. Doesn't win you games.
I think he's been good though.
Yeah.
Like he's created some chances. He hasn't buried anything. He shoots it right into the chest of the goalie, but I don't know.
He's great down low. He's really good on the puck. Like
he forechecks freaking hard. And I love him and Dewar on the fourth line. I don't know really who should be.
Oh, they were fun the other night too. Yeah, no, those two were a lot of fun to watch. It's a good pair. You got to have a fourth line like that.
I just don't know who should be center, and part of me says it should be Dubé, but we'll see.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that actually.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Coronato, where are we on Coronato?
Man, that first goal was beautiful, eh?
Oh,
man, welcome to the show. Oof.
His best night was against Winnipeg. I think he's gotten quieter.
Yep.
I don't know that that's not expected.
I think you're going to see him come out of the lineup sometime soon for a game just to watch the game because that's what they often do with young guys like him. And he wasn't going to light the league on fire. I still think he's going to put up pretty impressive numbers as a rookie. But I wouldn't, when they're a little healthier or somebody with the Wranglers, maybe Connor Zary makes a good case to come play a game or two. I could see Coronato sitting for a game.
I like him on the power play, actually.
How do you not?
I really, really do. And I think he's a dynamic forward that everybody in Calgary screams at Huberdeau for not being. Is he a savior for us? No, I think we need to back expectations. I mean, the talk after game 1, all of a sudden it just started to rattle, and and it's like, holy cow, people, like this dude's not putting up 80 points here. Like, let's back the horses up. But I think initial response on him has been very, very good. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, rightfully so. It's been a good start for him. I mean, it's again, not lighting the world on fire by any stretch, but you saw what he can do on that one goal that he scored, and there'll be a few more of them this year.
How many points did Johnny Gaudreau have in his first 5 games in Calgary?
1 maybe, or 0? It wasn't much.
It was 0.
Yeah, I remember because then he got scratched, and then he went on to score 63 that year or something, 65?
63, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know why that number sticks in my head, but it does.
Yeah. It's a very good, very well. That's the season they made the playoffs, and yeah, it was. That's what kind of what I was thinking in the back of my head. That's what's probably going to happen with Coronato, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you don't just make the NHL full time, and you still got things to learn. I mean, yeah, you make it full time, I guess, but it doesn't mean you're in the lineup every single night for 82 games.
Yeah, I like the trajectory. Does that make sense?
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I think he's got a dynamic shot. I think he can rack up a ton of points on the power play this year, and we'll see what happens.
I think depending on how things go in the next few games, it'd be fun to give him a spin on the top line and see what he can do.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
Well, that's what I mean.
Except for, I guess people would argue, well, Andrew Mangiapane is
great start to the year.
Great start. I mean, he's got 4 points in 3 games, 2 goals, 2 assists. He's +2.
Yep. Very impressed with him. And he was kind of whipping boy last year, and maybe we were wrong in our projection on him. Maybe he's a 60-some point player.
Boy, if this team is going to get anywhere, though, we almost need that, don't we?
Oh, he's got to get back to his 55-point range for sure. We're not going anywhere. It's just the same as Huberdeau's got to get to 70 to 80 plus. Like they just have to, because there's nobody else in the lineup's going to be able to score enough to make up for that if they don't. Right? I can't see it.
The Winnipeg game, I know it was sloppy, but we come away with a 5-3 victory. I all in all thought that was a pretty darn good hockey game.
Yep.
Top to bottom. I know a lot of people said it was sloppy, and it was sloppy, but
it's the first game of the season. What do you expect?
Exactly. So all in all, I thought it was
race in April, like frig.
Pretty solid 2 points there for the team. And in the Saturday night game in Pittsburgh, started off good with Coronato scoring, and then Pittsburgh rattles 4 straight off. And I don't know, the wheels just look like they fell off in the third for this team, and they were really sloppy. And
well, they were defensively, they were a mess.
Yeah. And
same as Washington, really.
And I looked at that Washington game, and I look at the roster now, and I'm just like, this is not a good hockey team.
Well, they've aged out a lot, right?
They have. Ovechkin looked like a shadow of himself.
Well, what do they say that night? Because I followed this closely last year, then kind of lost track of it. Ovechkin has to score 21 or 25 goals in each of the next 3 years to break Gretzky's record. Like, it's so doable, it's absurd.
But he didn't even get a shot, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
I that game frustrated me because we were up 2-0 and lose.
Yeah.
We were up in the Pittsburgh game, albeit in the 1-0 in the second, but we lose 2 games where we have leads.
Yep. Actually, the Washington game should have been 3-0 at one point because there was a chance there that I don't know how the hell they didn't bury it.
What did you think of Coleman's penalty shot? Was in the Washington game, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh, was that?
Or no.
That was in the Pittsburgh game.
Yeah, it was Pittsburgh. You're right.
First of all, it shouldn't have been a penalty shot because there was 2 guys right next to him.
Yeah.
How the hell do you call a penalty shot when there's 2 guys on your side?
I don't know. Penalty shot calls have always been interesting to me. Unless it's like the flagrant hand on the puck in the crease, or the pulling down from behind. Like some of them, I don't know. They make me wonder if they even know what the rules are.
Like, I think there should be a rule in the league where if a penalty shot is called, the team should be able to say, no, we don't want a penalty shot. We want a power play. You should get the choice of whether you take a penalty shot or get a power play. Because there's no way I would take the power play. I would take the power play 9 out of 10 times, depending on who was getting hauled down. But 9 out of 10 times, I'm taking a power play.
Be interesting for sure.
It should be something that
it would add. Well, it might actually take away some excitement though, because they do say it's the most exciting play in hockey, right?
If you score,
which is debatable. Well, yeah.
I just look at it. Okay, I like what you were really high on it all year with where this power play is going, and I was like, all right, well, prove it to me. And I like what I see. I really do like what I see. Yeah. I think Coronato has brought an aspect to that. I think our second power play unit has been great. Mm-hmm. And I look at it, and I'm very, very happy with it. So I'm looking at, I got Coleman going to take a penalty shot, or do I want to put this power play out? I want to put the power play out. I'm sorry. I think that should be a team choice.
Yeah, there's definitely an argument to be made. It would make for some interesting games, that's for sure.
Let's talk Markstrom.
Man, I don't know what more you can ask for from the guy.
So you're liking what you're seeing?
Absolutely. He had one glaring softie for sure, but most of the goals against this year have just been terrible defensive errors. And man, he made some 10 bell saves in Pittsburgh and in Washington, come to think of it.
And in Winnipeg too. Yeah,
that's actually the Winnipeg game as well. It's funny, that feels like it was longer ago than it really was, but yeah, no, he came to play this year. And I remember, I forget who it was in one of the broadcasts, whoever it was doing color that night was like, he's back. I'm not going to say that 2 or 3 games in, but he looks to be back.
Can I pour a little water on the fire though here? Because I do think I for the 10th time here, I'm going to be negative guy this week. Okay. I think he's been good. He has made some 10 bell game save, literally he saved the Jets game. I'm going to give him that. That is something he didn't do last year. He won the game for us. He made some big saves.
I'm waiting for the negativity to kick in.
But in the Pittsburgh game,
there it is.
And in the Washington game, he let a squeaker in.
Yep.
And you can't win games letting one squeaker in a night. And we can look at his highlights and go, whoa, 10 beller. Guess what? 0.898. Are you loving that?
No, but again, even if he's allowing the goals you just described, which again, I also agree cannot happen. The defensive coverage on a lot of those goals it was just it was awful. People are missing their assignments, and he got hung with the dry. So if that doesn't happen, he's probably sitting around. Yeah, he'd be sitting in a probably 918 save percentage, right? We'd be a lot happier. Now I'm going to tie this into something else because you just reminded me. I saw somebody on X today. David Pagnotta maybe had mentioned that apparently the Flames have re-engaged in potential trade talks for Dan Vladar. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think the trade talks ever quit.
I don't think so either.
I mean, I think he just needed something to report.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of the things he reports.
Take it with a grain of salt for sure. As you should.
Dan Vladar was announced today. He was in the starters net at practice, so he's probably penciled in as starting tomorrow night in Buffalo.
Yep.
I think Dan Vladar is gonna have a great year. And I pray he does. I pray he pushes Markstrom, and I pray they can be a dynamic duo. Do I want Wolf to get handed the keys eventually? I do. I really, really do. But I am so deathly afraid of putting Wolf in and having him stumble, and then we all look at each other and go, maybe he wasn't our answer. Now what? But eventually you got to give the keys. You're never going to know if you don't. So I get that.
Ultimately it's too, like it's Markstrom's team, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you end up going with Wolf because you can make a decent trade for something else that you need, then it becomes a case of, well, you know what? Wolf isn't going to play that often. He's just the backup. I don't want to say just the backup, but he's the backup. And for a 7th round pick, I mean, any NHL games is gravy. And now Dennis Gilbert potentially maybe sort of being hurt, took a puck in the face at practice, I believe.
Took a puck in the face. He did come back though.
Yeah, so I think he's going to be okay because he's a little bit unsung. But I was thinking of him because if Vladar was traded, I think one of the things you target is another defenseman potentially, right?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
But do you want to talk defense, or do you want to stay on the goaltending?
I'm content with our goaltending conversation being concluded. If you are,
I am. I'm interested to see how Vladar does, but I want to talk defense. Noah Hannafin.
Yep.
How much is Noah Hannafin asking for?
For money?
Yep. Just what do you think? What do you think?
$6 million.
Okay.
What do you think?
I almost said, if you're Brad Treliving, what do you do? If you're Craig Conroy, what number do you have written on a piece of paper?
4.8, maybe 5. Well, even 5. It's just there's only so many pieces of the pie, right? Or that weird soup analogy that Treliving made that time.
What the
yeah, like I don't know. He's such a great skater, and he's already played like 800 games, and he's 26 years old. Like it's wild. And actually, you know what? If you want to see what he can really do and what he's really worth, put him on the friggin' power play in place of Anderson on that top unit.
He makes 4.95, and I love what he brings offensively to us.
Yeah, he's just a great skater.
But I hate what he brings defensively.
Yeah.
I do. He loses assignments frequently.
Yeah. Yep, he does.
And I don't know. Like, I know he's going to want 6+.
Yeah.
And somebody for sure will give it to him because of his age and his experience and probably, I don't know, deserves it. I think this is a guy that I am completely fine with walking away from. Oh, God, did I say that? Because next year I'm going to be bitching because we don't have a top 4 defenseman to fill his spot.
Well, I think if there's nothing in place by the trade deadline, I mean, it's really hard to hang on to him at that point, right?
Yeah.
Even in a playoff spot, that's a really, really rough spot to be in. I mean, that's obviously the biggest example, of course, that was Johnny Gaudreau, but that's where it becomes really tense. Like, do you hang on to the guy hoping you go on a decent playoff run? Or do you do what I think they should do? Again, I mentioned this before on the show quite a while back, but kind of like in 15, they knew they're making the playoffs. They still traded Glenn Cross because it just made sense. Washington had a deeper team, was poised for a deeper run.
And Glenn Cross wasn't going to tilt the needle.
No, but they got 2 picks for him, right?
Great.
So if you're going to make it, yeah, and let's say hypothetically, and this is super hypothetical, but maybe if Shillington was back by then for whatever reason, all of a sudden Hannafin becomes a little bit more expendable in terms of a skating defenseman, right?
He would definitely become expendable. I'm not going to hold my breath on that, though.
I'm not either. I'm just saying there's things that are going to happen at the course of the season. That, I mean, I don't see him coming back. I think he's going to wind up a Boston Bruin, go back home.
So do I. So you got Hannafin, You got Tanev and you got Zadorov as UFAs, right?
Yeah.
It is so clear to me now, so crystal clear to me now, on which one of those I would sign first. It's not even funny.
Tanev?
No.
Zadorov, really?
I would ink Zadorov tomorrow.
Wow, man, you love him.
I do. And he pisses me off too. But I love he has a fear factor, right?
Yep. Yeah, he does for sure. There's no question.
He is a physical presence.
Yep.
He surprisingly skates pretty well, even though he looks like a giraffe sometimes.
Yep. He is a giraffe, essentially.
I like what he brings. And I think he wants to be in Calgary too. And
he certainly said as much in the past.
I think you can get him for 4.5, and I think you're going to be sitting pretty. I know
if you could do it if you could do it at 4, I'd be okay with that.
And I like Tanev too. I'm still a little worried about injuries. But I think that if we really truly are worried about asset management in this organization, and we're not going to go anywhere this year because I'm not writing that off yet. I think it's way too early.
Of course it is.
I would deal Tanev at the deadline because I think he's bringing you the biggest haul of anybody.
There's no question at all.
Because
he's a good candidate to be traded somewhere for a playoff run and re-sign in Calgary this summer.
For sure.
Yeah. And I would love that.
You look at him, and you're like, okay, this is what every general manager looks at his line chart before the playoffs and goes, I freaking need a strong, will lay his heart on the line defenseman that's safe and solid. And that's Chris Tanev.
Well, I'm not going to suggest that we would have won the series against the Oilers in 22, but it wouldn't have been done in 5 games if Chris Tanev had been healthy. I agree. Revisionist history, easy to say. I get it, but I am 100% correct on that. That's a 6, maybe a 7-game series if he's healthy. He basically, his arm was falling off his body. He shouldn't have played at all. But a healthy Chris Tanev is a game changer in the playoffs.
Remember when he came back and it was just like, oh, I feel bad. I feel bad for him right now because this isn't good.
I remember being at a bar in Calgary with a buddy, Jamie, who's actually really good buddies with Johnny Gaudreau, and we were sitting around and Jamie was really good. I mean, he'd never say too much about the locker room, right? He didn't know a lot because John didn't say a lot from what I understood, but he did say man, Tanev definitely shouldn't be playing. And we knew that because if I remember right, he got fallen on in the Dallas series and it was evident something was seriously wrong. So, I mean, anybody who watched that knew you can't, the human body does not recover from that type of injury that quickly. No. And I mean, hockey tough, good for him for trying it out, sure, but it definitely didn't help us any. But a healthy Chris Tanev is very helpful to any team, no question.
And if we're in a good playoff spot, I think you got to keep him too because he is a guy that can put you over the hump too.
Well, we'll know better in a month. Obviously, right now it's 1-1-1. It's the most average start imaginable.
It is, and as much negativity as I've had, I am by no means writing anything. It's
kind of perfect, actually.
I'm actually in a good mood right about this team. I'm just frustrated. I mean, really, honestly, the only things I'm frustrated right now with is we can't give Hanifin big money because he's still defensive shakiness. We can't. We got to get Kadri to be engaged.
Yeah, Kadri's one of the only ones to start the season that's really frustrated me. Just 3 games in, really frustrated me.
He's my
nobody else. Yeah. That contract is starting to look like it could be a huge mistake.
There's one other player we need to talk about. We need to talk about him, and it's part of the X factor today.
Here it is. And nice segue. Like
that? Yes. We need to talk about this guy. This week, I saw a tweet or an X or whatever you want to call it. It's from Veer976. He says, anyone who wants to take Ruzicka off the top 6 can take a hike. The dude has the skill to play up in the lineup and provide scoring. Now, I've been Ruzicka's biggest critic.
You have? But
I also said 2 weeks ago, you cannot put this guy outside the top 6 because he just says, screw it.
Yeah.
And doesn't try. But he's been effective again in the top 6, just like he was last year.
I like how PG this tweet is too. Let's talk about Veer for a second. They can take a hike. Yeah, your kids can read that, no problem. But good for him. People post such vulgar stuff sometimes. Like, it's just ridiculous. This is nice. It's agreeable. It's well said. I like it.
It's a refreshing X or tweet or
This is very calm. I need people like this in my life, actually.
I saw this and I'm like, screenshot, like it. It's going to be the X Factor this week.
Thanks, Fear. Appreciate it, man.
Very good.
Very.
What else?
But yeah, no, he should be up in the lineup. I mean, he has the skill to do it. He has the size to do it. And he's, well, much like that tweet, he's like an X factor for this team. He scored at a pretty good pace last year
when he was up in the lineup.
Yeah, like you said, no.
Came out of it, it was just nothing.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
We shall.
Hannafin played 600 games. Congratulations to him. Heritage Classic is coming up really fast. So you noticed that?
I forgot about that. We just talked about those jerseys too, and I forgot about it. Wow.
Not this Sunday, but next Sunday we are at the Heritage Class in Edmonton, October 29th. So 5 o'clock Mountain start. I don't like outdoor games. You like outdoor games?
Yeah, they're a little overdone now. I don't need 6 a season, and that's what it feels like anyway. And I don't need them in weird climates. I shouldn't be able to support them. I just don't get that. Like,
I liked that LA Anaheim one a few years ago. I don't know if I was just caught me at the right moment. I sat down and actually watched that one. It was good.
I have a vague recollection of that, but
remember that?
I guess maybe I'm being a little too old school there. Like, good for them, but yeah, there's too many of them now. Remember in 2003 they did a Heritage Classic between Edmonton and Montreal. It was like a big deal. Jose Theodore had the toucan and all that.
Yeah,
like Jose. I didn't say that right. Holy God, I forgot about him. The guy that stole the Hart Trophy from Drumagilla.
That's right.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Bedard hype this week?
The kid's a stud. We all know that. He's gonna like. I was talking to Jim Gaudreau, John's uncle, about this, and he's like, "What do you think he's gonna score? What do you think he's gonna score?" I'm like, I don't know, 70-some points. He's like, exactly. He's like, these are the idiots that are saying he's going to score like 110 or be like McDavid right off the hop. Like, he's like, it's crazy. And he's right. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
For no other reason than he doesn't have the friggin' support to score 100 points. But he's been good. He's an NHL player. He's going to be an elite center. But man, the hype, it's like, I get it. Like, the NHL has to do a better job marketing their stars. I've been saying that for years. But man, it's a lot of hype.
It is. I liked what I see so far, but yeah.
Absolutely. He's a great player.
He does a lot of maturing to do.
But the Chicago Blackhawks are not going to make the playoffs because they have Connor Bedard.
No.
And if they are, then I'm going to have a very embarrassing podcast to host with you in April.
I'll pretend like I didn't hear that. All right.
Frig.
How about that fight? The Wranglers, Moose, Gallant, via.
Oh, Alex Gallant. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a Donnybrook.
Ugh, I don't know that I've seen a fight that.
Where's that word come from? Donnybrook.
I don't know.
That's a really dumb one. I feel kind of dumb just having said that. But anyway, yeah, that was a tussle.
I said doozy, and you said Donnybrook in one sentence. I don't even know what that is.
Oh God.
Hey, another thing we need to talk about. You brought it up last week. I can't remember how we were talking about it. NHL 24. I'm not a video game guy. Like, vent to me. Tell me why it sucks.
All right. God, I wasn't ready to do it. Can I go get a beer before I do this? It's just not realistic at all. So, like, they've already and I like James Sapolsky. He used to do Anchor Sports Center here in Canada, but like, I don't know that he does play-by-play for hockey anywhere on the planet, but for some reason he does the NHL series. That makes no sense. So it feels inauthentic. The celebrations are like, it's just like a Hollywood spotlight on the guy who scored, and like the camera goes this weird angle, so it's like all about that player, and it's like this. To me, it should play and feel like watching a hockey game,
yes,
while still having sprinkled in feeling like you're playing, like being involved in it. But it just keeps getting like faker and faker. And then they come up with something that they claim is new, which is always old. So like this goalie fatigue system. So you move the puck around in the offensive zone for, maybe a minute 30. All of a sudden the goalie is, on his deathbed. He's just so tired from watching the puck. Like, and he made 2 saves in a period. Like, it's just not realistic. I barely played it. I don't game a lot as it is. unless I'm trying to distract myself from problems in my real life. But it's just
drinking beer, huh?
yeah, it just sucks. It's a really, they need to do what the WWE series did. And I didn't follow it closely for a lot of years, but they took a year off. I think between 21 and 23 or 20 and 22, they took a year off. So we're not making a game. And they came back with a significantly better game. You can't release a title every year and have it be new and refreshing and good. And Mike Gold had tweeted this once, and I agree with him. Just release like in the summertime, like a $29.99 roster update, add the new jerseys, and keep playing it for a year.
Yeah.
Quit charging us $100 for a new title that isn't new at all. It's just a crappier version of the one you bought a year ago. You got me all fired up.
See, I love it when I do that. I love it.
You're figuring out my buttons.
Oh, yeah. We're back to hockey action tomorrow night. Thursday night, Calgary and Buffalo. They have a back-to-back. Then off to Columbus Friday night. So they're our first back-to-back.
I went to that game. I should have gone to that, damn it.
I really got you flustered and frustrated.
I've been pissed off for a week and a half, and this is making it worse.
Well, I'm good. It's good to know that this is yeah.
Hey, this is my reprieve. This is my break. Yeah.
Oh. The 5-game road trip ends Sunday in Detroit. 3:00 start, I believe that one is, and then they're back home Tuesday when the Rangers come to town.
At 3:00
Mountain? I think it is. I think the Sunday afternoon one is 3:00.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did I say? Mountain? Did I say mountain? What did I say?
You didn't. I asked because you didn't say.
All right. I don't even know what the hell I'm saying anymore. So what's successful road trip? What is successful on this? What are we happy?
5-game road trip?
Yeah. What are we happy?
3-1-1. 3-2 would be okay. Realistically, to start the year.
I'd be happy with 3-2.
Yeah.
We better get going. We have 0 right now.
Yep. True that. But that old adage of like it's good to start with your team on the road, get to know each other, the guys can gel. I agree with that. I always found like when I played meaningless hockey like I did when I was younger, like you'd go on a road trip or play a tournament in a different city, and you just always you're with your teammates all the time. You're going to restaurants together. You're in the gym together. Like it was just There's something to be said for that.
Did we not play like a road game last year and then 10 straight at home? Like that's not healthy. That's not healthy.
No. Speaking of, I just thought of this because how little Calgary and Edmonton play now. What is it? Twice or 3 times this year the Maple Leafs play the Canadians?
I think
it's a pathetic, embarrassing.
It's the same as what Calgary and Edmonton played last year. 3.
Now, in the one year, it was like 8 times, which is too much.
Well, that might have been the COVID year where we seemed like we played the same team every night.
Oh, I don't think it was though. I think it was another season.
Was it?
I'm gonna look this up. I don't know where my phone is right now. But when I found my phone,
it was the next year. Didn't we only play in conference that year? The one year we played only in division.
Yeah.
And the next year we played only in conference, right?
Yeah. Do you remember when the Thrashers moved to Winnipeg in 2011? Yeah. And the Jets had to play 1 or 2 seasons in the Southeast.
They had to play in the Southeast. How shit is that? It's like, what are you guys doing? Now we got another roadie out to Florida.
Well, like that's just like, have you read Dan Goes Brown?
I have, yes.
That fit that. Yeah, I'm gonna read that again. That fits right in with that book. Like that's such a dumb thing. Like you couldn't realign your conferences, even though you knew after months of negotiating the sale of this franchise from Atlanta to Winnipeg, you couldn't figure out how to make the schedule work.
That's very CFL-ish.
Ooh.
Right?
Is that just a word for stupid?
Yes.
Sorry, Stamps fans, we're not picking on you.
No, I'm not picking on the Stamps. The whole league does stupid stuff.
I agree with that.
What else we got to talk about? Buffalo's having trouble scoring. They did win their first game last night to beat the Lightning 3-2 in overtime, so they got that out of their system. I do not want to go in to Buffalo and play a Buffalo team that hasn't won this year.
Buffalo, I think, is still going to be a playoff team. They're going to be a tough team to beat this year. They got talent at every position.
I worry about their goaltending.
I do too. That's the biggest question mark for them. But they've got a couple of good options there that I think somebody's take the ball and run with it. I think. Do you know what their goals per game is this year? 1.5, and their goals allowed is 4. But that'll correct very quickly. Anybody who thinks that 3 or 4 games is a sample size to judge anything needs their head checked.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
We got lots of hockey to watch this weekend. That's a good thing. That's a really, really, really good thing. So,
yep.
I'm excited.
Let's talk about next week. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Start to get a sense of what this team is about because it's good indicators, bad indicators. It's too early to say, but we can start to get our heads around it.
There's 4 games from now until when we talk next Wednesday. I feel like we're going to have a really, really good beat on where this is going.
I hope so. I suspect so as well, but I certainly hope so.
Man, I hope I'm in a good mood next week.
You in a bad mood today? I can't really tell.
I'm in a good mood. I am really, really pissed off at Kadri.
It's hard to blame you for that, though. Well, I can't blame you for that.
Because you know what? I was mad at him last year, and I said to myself in the offseason, all right, I got to put it out of my system because I'm not going to like have recency bias and just start the year off, and I watched him and I'm like, he's doing the shoulder shrug again. This is not good.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see. He's kind of like that, right? He could snap out of it in a big way on this road trip. So let's hope that's the case.
Let's do it. We need some points to get the ball rolling.
Gonna bank him now because it's not going to get any easier.
As we go, we got one thing. I got some giveaway stuff coming. We got some t-shirts showing up tomorrow, so we're going to be running some contests on our socials. You like that?
Damn it! Man, my girlfriend would be so proud to hear that right now.
That we use the word socials.
Yeah, that's how it started because I said it once to her, despite the fact I'd never used the word in my life.
Said it on the show that night, and
I didn't even say it. Well, I didn't even say it on the show because she laughed at me. I think it was just stuck in my head still. And like, she's from Calgary, right? Like she was more grew up on the East Coast, but like, like she made fun of me in such a way that I'm not that much older than her, but my God, I felt older than her.
I'm way older then, so she'll really make fun of me.
Well, and then see, when you said it just now, I was like, it just hit me. I'm like, I forgot about doing that.
Did it flow better though? See, we're pulling it into the show and it's flowing, man.
Oh man, it just made me feel like a douchebag all over again. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that.
We're here for each other, right? We're here. We also got some other stuff to give away, and I'll be on social media this week. See you guys, right? And
let's stick to socials. It's kind of our thing now.
Now we're gonna give some stuff away. Socials this week. So hopefully the Flames can come out of this with some points. We got Buffalo, Columbus, Detroit, and then the Rangers at home. Flames fan, have a good week. And we're back next week talking more Flames hockey.
Can't wait.
Thanks for listening to Flames Unfiltered with Brad Burud and Kyle Lewis, your source for unfiltered Calgary Flames hockey talk. Keep it locked on flamesunfiltered.ca. Subscribe where you get all your podcasts to never miss an episode. Flames hockey talk every week, presented by Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.